Laugh out loud, it's the place to be, where geeky minds meet so naturally. From pixel legends to blockbuster heart, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart.
Oh, laugh out loud. It's a darn good time. Where Ben and Mike, well, we didn't really think of a rhyme. But hey, we're back again.
That was good.
Welcome to another episode of Benvis and Mike Head, the AI slop that you love so much.
I'm sorry, it's clearing my throat.
It's all good. So it is actually, today is Easter Sunday. So I do have to say, I haven't even said to you, Ben, but happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter. I hope everybody had a great day and that ham or whatever it is that your family eats. My family had ham. But I hope you had whatever it was, you had a nice meal and some time with somebody that you can stand partially.
Even if it's yourself.
Even if it's just yourself.
Just look in the mirror if you can stand yourself. If you can't stand yourself, I don't know what to tell you. Just get more candy. I don't know.
Well, if you can't stand yourself, nobody will ever else will be able to put up with you either. You have to learn to become somebody that you yourself love, and then you will be lovable to others, unless you are a complete and utter psychopath. That then what you love is psychotic, and then people will still think you're psychotic. Unfortunately, it just works out that way.
So actually, there is something I want to discuss with you. But before that, a question just came to mind right when we started this. I'm just curious, Ben. What's your favorite Easter candy?
Favorite Easter candy? I do like the rabbits where it's hollow and it's just like a chocolate shell. Because I used to like it as a kid. I used to just like breaking it. But it has to be like good chocolate, not like a shitty. Because there's some that you get and they're cheap and it's like the chocolate tastes like crap. I'm with good quality chocolate. And I remember one time I got one of those Easter bunnies, but it was solid chocolate. And oh my God. Oh man, you're like trying to chew pieces off of it and stuff. And you're trying to break it. I'm a little kid. I can't do any of that.
You're like, take it back. There's too much chocolate here. I want hollow disappointment.
Well, yeah, because like half of it was like it would be still in the wrapper, and I would start crinkling it down. And I think my mom just taught me to do that because like then it becomes like tiny little pieces, and then you could eat them like they're chocolate, like little like potato chip, but chocolate chip, potato chip type of thing. It's like you're having chips, like or crisp if you're in England, but chocolate.
So for me, I have to go with, I always love Cadbury cream eggs. And I gotta specify, I love the cream eggs. I don't like the caramel eggs. Caramel eggs just kind of feel like a disappointment because I think if there's just a little too much caramel in the egg, I don't mind caramel, but I don't like to be swimming through Lake-O caramel while I'm eating my cream egg. But the actual cream eggs, I mean, as I gotten older, the taste isn't as fresh as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something just magical about a Cadbury cream egg. So maybe memories that come back as well too with it.
Also, I like those little marshmallow peaks, whatever they call them.
Peeps, not the Peeps. I can't stand Peeps.
You can't stand the Peeps?
I do not like.
It's just a thing of marshmallow in the form of a bird.
Well, that's the thing is that I think I've been fed too many Peeps in my life.
I mean, I'll have like one and then just like never touch it for the rest of whatever time I'm at wherever.
Well, see, when my mom would put together an Easter basket, it wouldn't just be like, the set of 4 Peeps. She would still include, like, when you get the bulk set that's like 3 or 4 boxes of 4, she just like throw that in yours. And there'd usually be like maybe 2 of those boxes. So there's just like an overkill of Peeps.
Oh no, but see, my mom, because we're German, like everything was like German chocolate, German this. She still like is obsessed with German chocolate. Like this woman grew up there, you know, but this is like, but then maybe that's why she loves German chocolate, and like she knows where to, like the stores that sell the particular chocolate that she likes, and you know, it's like it's one of the things like she's a person of very simple pleasures, and that's one of her simple pleasures.
I think that we need to trade moms on Easter. Have them make an Easter basket for us. Now my mom used to pour a ton of jelly beans in the grass, the Easter grass, which there are a whole bunch of jelly beans that will last forever, but the problem is it's now mixed in with the grass to the point where I despise Easter grass.
See, like okay, so my favorite candy is Haribo, the golden Haribo, but I want the Haribo Gold Baron, not Gold Bears, Gold Baron, which is the German version, and it's available in basically every other country other than ours. And the way that you can tell, you look at the wrapper. If it's in German, that's the one I'm talking about. I have gotten them imported before. At one point, Amazon. I mean, you can still get it from Amazon. I do keep an eye on the price once in a while, and when it's down to like, they sell packs of like six packs of packages of the candy.
Mhm.
They sell these bundles, and once in a while they're down to $18. And when they're $18, I grab them because it's like $3 a bag. And those are my favorite. But what like my mom will do is whenever she's like, if she's at the store, if she thinks of me, she'll buy me the American version of it.
Uh-huh.
And it's always like, oh.
And then you gotta be nice. You gotta be like, thanks, just what I wanted.
I don't know why the German ones are just better. They just are. Maybe it part of it might just be because I grew up on it, and it's the nostalgia. I don't know.
It could also be like when they just recently when they came out with like the ingredients that are put into McDonald's French fries here versus what's put into like the French fries like in the UK. It could be the same thing. It could be, you know, all the dyes or whatever that are being used in American food versus the actual German version of it.
Maybe they have their laws are way more restrictive than they are here of what could be put in the food. Like just the German purity law for their beer. Their beer is allowed to have like 6 different ingredients, and literally it's just how much of each ingredient you put in determines what your beer is going to taste like. You know, it's stuff like that. It's ridiculous, but it's also good because you know what's going to. It's like it takes a lot of pressure off of a consumer of whether or not you're eating something that's healthy. You don't have to sit there with your phone and research, which I don't do. I don't think anybody really else does. Maybe somebody does. I don't know. But I've never seen people there like checking researching the health facts on certain products while they're in a store, or I mean, people do it before going out. I think most people do just like, I like this. This tastes good. I'll get some of this. I was in the grocery store and there was somebody in front of me, and it was a bigger woman, and she had a tattoo of a cuckoo clock on her arm. And all I kept thinking was like, man, that woman is not going to stop till she had a grandfather clock there.
Ooh, shout. Well, yeah, I mean, in America, it's like they're like, well, we're going to put in, you know, liquid death in our food, and that's okay, FDA, right? And the FDA is like, yeah, we didn't see anything.
There are products on the shelf that's allowed to have like minute traces of like radioactive stuff. It's like it's like the F, man. Really, like you just don't. It's like, oh, well, I'm gonna go and stop people from doing this. Oh, what a nice paycheck.
Yep, all about the money.
That'll pay for my luxury island I want to build.
Yep. All right, so I have something that I really want to discuss with you here. I got to tell you something that happened today on Easter. So basically, there was a lot of stuff going on with me and Maria, and we were getting a hotel room set up for her dad, close to the hospital. That we had to wait for the maintenance guy to come up. So we turned on the TV. Now it's Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
And there was a movie on, and I think when you hear the title, I'm sure you're going to know what it's about. The movie was called Barabbas.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly my thought. I'm like thinking, wait, we have a movie called Barabbas, and it's being played on Easter.
I mean, the timing is kind of fitting, but that would be like releasing a documentary called "Why the Nazis Were Right" around the time when that time we celebrate D-Day.
Yeah, and it's like, but you think about if you think about you go back into the Bible, and it talks about the people were given a choice. Do you want to free Jesus or do you want to free Barabbas? And give me Barabbas, give us Barabbas.
And that is like right there is the whole thing of wow, we're gonna okay, it is Easter. I work for a church, folks. Sorry, my other podcast is a Bible podcast. So Barabbas or Jesus is really a reflection on what we do every single day in life. Would you rather do the thing that honors God, or would you rather sit and watch TV and eat potato chips and watch this movie and watch Cruel Intentions because you love that movie so much? A movie with, according to you, has no redeemable qualities. Would you rather sit here and watch this movie with no redeemable qualities because Sarah Michelle Gellar just really sells the sex appeal, or would you rather watch Chosen season 4?
Yeah,
You know, these are and these are things that I deal with myself. Like I still haven't finished season 4 of Chosen because the first 2 episodes, someone dies in the first episode and then someone else dies in the second episode, and they're both major effing characters in the fucking story. And yes, I read the book. I knew one of them was coming. The second one was a character they made up just for the show, so I didn't know that they were gonna die. But
well, and I think you just hit it. I think you just hit it right there. Is that I looked at it. I looked at this movie on, and I thought, okay, so way back in the Bible, 2,000 years ago, they gave the people the choice, between the two of them. Now fast forward to now, and it's the station is under that same choice. They
yeah,
could have easily played something that was like, Jesus of Nazareth. No, they chose Barabbas.
now,
Well,
now maybe if this is like it doesn't like point him, it doesn't make him look like an amazing character, and it's just to show you what the character, well, we know about him.
that's the next part I was going to get to.
Yeah,
So when I saw this movie, I didn't watch it, but I had to read the synopsis. This is not about Barabbas up until that point. This is a story about Barabbas after they chose him and how he became a good person and then became, I guess it was like a gladiator, and then what's the fall of Rome, which is no, we don't have any history on this. This is just totally made up stuff. And it sounds like it's made up to make Barabbas look like he was a good person. Like he was, oh, I just kind of messed up, and now I'm a good person. You got to think about the fact that if Barabbas is in that position he was in, it wasn't one of those, oh, my friend and I, we just disagreed, and oops, I punched him and he fell off a ledge and fell to his death. It was a complete accident. No, he has to be a really bad person to be at the point where he was.
mm. I'm on Chat GPT asking if they're okay. So, Chat GPT, I asked, do we know anything historical, anything that happened to him after the fact? Great question and a frustrating one for historians. Short answer, no, we do not have any solid historical records outside of the Bible that confirm what happened to Barabbas after his release, or even that he existed as an identifiable historical figure beyond the gospel accounts.
Yep.
Basically saying his main, like, as far as history knows, his name might not have been Barabbas. That could have been a placeholder for something else. Which the fact that it's mentioned in multiple gospels kind of points that the guy's name actually was Barabbas. So that does, in a court of law, it would hold up that his name is Barabbas. There is no mention in him in Roman records, Jewish historical texts, or early church writings outside of the scripture. So not only did they release him over Jesus, he is so minor of a character. It is like if you were watching some movie and had to choose between saving the hero of the movie or some side, small character, like the driver of the guy from the mafia's like eighth assistant or something. Like to me, that's no significance to anything other than this one moment in history. He is literally here for this one thing, and that's literally how. And God works like that. A lot of times he works like that. We're literally here for this one thing, and that's it.
Mm.
It's like some of the greatest presidents in history. Who did they defeat in their election? Because whoever they defeated had to be good enough to make it all the way up to being their opponent in the election. Also, the same thing with sports teams. I mean, how many times did the Yankees win the championship? Can you name all the teams they beat? Probably not. I couldn't even name the years that they won the championship because I don't know. But I'm like, for a sports person, though, maybe that would be an example. I'm just trying to think of examples of like this. Barabbas, yeah. So they made a movie about a guy where they literally did have maybe that's why they did it. They wanted to make a movie where they had the artistic freedom to make the story up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they did the research and this could be believable. And so did you watch it? Is it a believable story to this?
No, I didn't watch it. I saw that and I just kind of rolled my eyes. But my story about this date continues after this.
After this, so first we're gonna do a commercial break.
So no, okay, so that was all Barabbas.
Okay.
After that, shortly after that, we had to return back to her parents' house. When we got in on the TV, what was playing on TV was Noah, the Russell Crowe version of Noah. And at this point, I'm sitting here going, did any of these people tell them it's Easter and who it's about? And not only that, the accuracy, because the Noah movie is definitely not an accurate movie. I don't know if you've seen the Noah movie or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people just don't know. They just think Bible. It's like, and it's some people just don't know. They just don't know. They think, and granted, I didn't know. I thought Jesus wrote his own story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised to find out that he never wrote a single word of the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, well, if the book's about him, wouldn't he be the guy who wrote it?
Mm-hmm.
And in one religion, that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, well, it's the same actually in Christianity too with the Old Testament because a lot of stuff is autobiographical or just biographical. But yeah, it's the fact that, and that kind of hit me too, that this is not even stories that he recounted. These are other people's stories about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you ever write the story of somebody that you knew? Like, do you have a friend that's that interesting that you want to write a story about them, a truthful story about them? Maybe you might want to put them in a story that you make up on your own.
It depends on, am I going for points right now?
For points?
Yeah. If I'm going for points, I got this great friend I'd write a story about. He lives in Connecticut. And
like brownie points?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's different. Brownie points are different. You're trying to and yeah. I can go into stuff like that if you want, but so yeah, you have more on your Easter story.
That is the Easter story. That is everything I want to share with the Easter story.
Okay, I thought you were gonna go more into like what happened.
Oh no, it's just what a choice of movies for Easter Sunday.
So did you get a chance to at least have a meal with your wife?
Yeah, actually we had a lunch at her parents' house, like super late in the day, but
there you go. It's something.
It was yeah.
It's not about the food that you're serving. It's not about where you're having it. It's about the people that you're with. That's always what it's about. Yeah, very seldom. Like, I mean, there are buildings where you can kind of get like a personal attachment to the building, but most of the time it's the people. You don't really care about the building.
It's about having the day off.
It's about having the day off, which I have tomorrow off.
There you go.
I suggested it to my boss, but I think he probably was thinking about it anyways. I'm like, yeah, we're getting Monday off, right? Because, Sunday, it's church day, and it's the only holiday that we actually have our service for it on the day of.
Mm.
Because like we do a Thanksgiving service, we do a Christmas service. I mean, we do a Mother's Day service, but Mother's Day is not like that's to use my mom's term, that's a Hallmark holiday. Um, Nothing against the moms. I mean, I do observe Mother's Day, and I do think it's something that maybe should be a bigger deal. But it's still kind of like you buy a card. Nobody gets the day off. It's not really like observed beyond like Happy Mother's Day. We do a lot of pictures at the church. We take Mother's Day as a big deal. It's one of our bigger
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Mother's Day is a necessary one to make big, because if not, then you're gonna upset the mothers, and that's never be a good position to be in.
What we do on Mother's Day is every woman gets a rose.
Mm.
And that's and also the pastor's wife, she preaches.
Oh, gotcha.
And then for Father's Day, all the men get entered into a raffle for a gift card to Home Depot, and the pastor is he saves up dad jokes the whole year, and it's the only time of year he does a comedy set.
See, I was thinking like if the women, the mothers are getting rose, I thought the father should get like a football.
You know how much footballs cost compared to a rose? We get the roses in bulk.
Well, I mean, you can get one of those little foam footballs.
We have them. We have a bunch of those. We give them out to the kids.
There you go. So give them out to the fathers on Father's Day. I'm sure the fathers would still be just as excited as the kids.
So you had an exciting movie day. I don't think I've ever seen either one. I've never heard of the Barabbas movie. I didn't see the Noah movie either. There's a lot of movies that like I haven't seen, and I have too. Like I have what's the one with Charlton Heston?
Oh, the one the where he's the Roman whatever.
No, Charlton Heston. He's Moses.
Oh, Moses. Okay, I don't know.
I think he's Moses. I forget the name of it. But yeah, he like all these Christian movies that throughout the years, some are better than others. There was one you were talking about, Jesus of Nazareth, that came out in the 70s, and that has such an iconic look to it. And then there was a movie that came out a couple years ago. I think we might have talked about this at one point. There was a movie that came out a couple years ago that had the same feel, as if they watched Jesus of Nazareth and said, we want to make a sequel to this. Actually, it wasn't a sequel. It was a remake. It was a total remake of the Jesus of Nazareth movie, including the same cinematic style. And I thought because of that, it was excellent. Because like it's this over-the-top TV movie. Jesus is over the top. Everything's over the top. He's British, and there's always light shining behind him, and he always talks with a purpose to every word that he says, and he talks very slowly and lovingly. And like, yeah, it's so good because it's too much. And the fact that somebody must have felt like I did, that's why the movie was good. So they're like, okay, we're gonna redo this.
It's like, Jesus, what is the most important commandment? There are only two commandments, you dodgy bloke.
No, yeah, no, he talks like he's from the streets of London. This isn't my fair Jesus. To start off the movie, and he talks like he's like, hey, God bless you, you rhymey bloke. And at the end of it, yes, may the Lord be with you. My fair Jesus, available this spring in a movie theater near you.
So after this, I'm tempted to go to the TV and turn it on and to see like, Easter Sunday coming up next, Constantine, or something just like that.
Coming up next, by fair Jesus.
Something that's Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Bill and Ted's motherfucking journey. Okay.
I don't know which one that was.
There was one like with like somebody came up with like I forget it was on a movie or a TV show or maybe just somebody I knew in school. I don't even know, but somebody came up with like a version of the lyrics for Bill and Ted, but it was like Bill and Ted, Bill and Ted's motherfucking journey or excellent adventure. I forget what it was. There was swearing in it. It was dumb, but it's one of those dumb things from childhood you remember.
So, all right. On that note, I think we better get started here. We've got about 25 minutes in, and I'm sure a lot of people looking to save money are like, "What's all this stuff that's going on?" But you don't mind if I get the ball rolling, do you, Ben?
Go right ahead. Let's do this.
All right. So we are actually going to do something first that's going to be maybe fun. We're going to find out. It's time for a little bloomin' news. And to be honest with you, there isn't any news. But what I wanted to do is, well, kind of, I am going to ramble. Actually, that's a good point. I actually wanted to do something fun, and I want to do something fun in a way that I want to make it known that I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers with this, but it's all in good fun. We all have our different opinions. And I'm very curious as to if you guys, anybody listens to this here, what you feel about it. And basically I'm going to run through their albums, which there's not a whole bunch, Ben, you don't have to worry. And I'm going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. And I encourage anyone who's listening, if you disagree, I'd love to know what your least favorite to your favorite is and why that would be. And because we're all fans, but we all have different tastes. So I figure I'm gonna get this ball rolling. I'm gonna go ahead and start with, out of the 4 albums, my 4th favorite album. I'm gonna say it that way because I don't want to say it like I don't like this album. I'm also gonna talk about what I think is my favorite song on the album and my least favorite song on this album. And I'm probably going to start angering some people off this first one, which my 4th favorite would be this one right here, Tell 'Em. Now, that came out of my mouth fast and it sounded like, da, 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 da. Anyway, so this one, I think that overall, I think this album is good, but I think there's something that doesn't completely mesh right on it. It's got its moments where it pops and there's got its moments where it lays back, but it just doesn't feel consistent. And this is what brings it down on my list. And here's the interesting thing. This is the album where I got into them. What happened was, one of my friends sent me a video of the Salamin and said, "This is getting very big over in the Philippines. Check it out." So I did, and I thought it wasn't too bad. It reminded me of the really cutesy K-pop that I was into at the time, but the rap in it, the part where Stacy's rap actually was it just hearing the language in the rap and something about it was really what caught me and then just kind of blew my mind. With that being said, this album, even though it's on the bottom of my list, this has one of their best songs, and this has a song that ever since I've heard it the first time lives in my head and will not leave. And I mean that actually in a very good way. And here's the interesting thing. If you were to ask me what my favorite song is, it would be that song. If you ask me what my least favorite song is, that's where things are going to get interesting. So, much like everybody knows, this knows the song well. My favorite song on this, a song that is just so darn stuck in my head, is actually Pentropical. I love that song. I've jammed to that song a lot of times. It's interesting because, for music people out there, it seems like it played in the relative minor as well as in the major, and fit really good with the accompaniment of the song. So it's a very interesting song in that way. My least favorite song on it, is where it's going to get interesting and probably going to upset some people, is Salamin. And I think that's because of the fact that it's very much reminiscent of a lot of the cutesy K-pop and J-pop that I've been listening to for a long time. So, maybe it's the point where it doesn't affect me like it would if it was more of the style of some of the rest of the stuff on here. Um so that's the least on the list, but I do want to point out I would still listen to this anytime. So then we go to number 3. The number 3 album would be Feel Good. Feel Good to me is an interesting album because it feels like the album where they're trying to really play it safe, where there's nothing that's really standing out as being uh, a risk in a way, or something that you haven't heard before. It's just your standard checks all the boxes type of pop album. And I don't mean that in like a bad way, because the songs on it are actually really good. It's just it it's not something that out of all of them that I crave wanting to go to. I'm like, I gotta listen to this one. Um, on this album, okay, so this might ruffle some feathers here too. So, my favorite song on this one would definitely be No Fear, and my least favorite would actually be Laggy Laggy, which I do like. The They have another version of, I believe it's the acoustic version, that I actually think is better than the original version on this. Now I do want to give props to Strings, because like I said, this album kind of feels like it plays it safe. Strings kind of goes in that risky area, but I don't think it's enough to really make this feel like it's doing something edgy, um, and getting it out of that standard pop feel. So that's my feelings on my number 3 choice. Now we get to the big two. And since we're down to 2, I'm sure when I tell you 2, you're obviously going to know what 1 is. That's usually how it goes. So for my number 2 choice would be Born to Win, their first album. And I would say this would, apart from just one little part of it, I would say this is pretty darn close to a perfect album. There is a lot of good stuff on this. I just feel like the one that I'm gonna tell you is the worst song. It's not a bad song, but it just brings the energy down, in my opinion. It does have their second best song on it. So the worst song I would say on it would be Kapit Lan. The best song is right after, which is 8. I don't know what it is about to me with Kapit Lan, but it just feels like put together with all the other stuff on this, especially the 2 songs that sandwiched between, it just doesn't, it kind of loses that punch that I was hoping it would have. Now 8 is just, if you haven't heard 8, hear 8. It's just, as a song itself, is just mind-blowingly good. So that gets us to our number 1 album. You're probably already gonna guess what it is. Yep. Number 1 would be BINI Verse. BINI Verse is amazing. Even though I've been mentioning that I think we're kind of getting to the point where Blink Twice is getting beaten into the ground, even though I'm not, I would say half of it doesn't have the strength that the other half of it has. It's still, the way that it works together is just amazing, to where even the songs that aren't at the level that the good ones are, it makes up for it by the way that the whole album is laid out together. My least favorite song on this one would definitely be Cherry on Top, which I've never been a big fan of Cherry on Top, but to turn around this, my third favorite song on this would actually be the Cherry on Top remix, because it adds just that little bit that makes a song just mesh so much better together, in my opinion. My favorite song of this, now I mentioned that my 4th favorite song was on one album, my 2nd favorite song was on another. So you can figure out, this is going to have my first and third favorite songs. So I might as well say my third favorite song of all by BINI on this one, Zero Pressure. But my favorite song out of everything would be Out of My Head. That's the type of song I could just listen to over and over and over and over again. And I have been for a reason recently that maybe you'll find out in the future. We'll have to see. But that's my take on the albums. And I would love to hear from any other fans, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what your opinions are as far as what their best is, and what their best songs are as well too. So, like I said, no news. I thought we'd just have a little bit of fun today and put that together. So, hope you enjoyed it. And when there is news, I will be back to let you know.
Cool.
There we go. There's that. We got that out of the way.
We got the blooming news up the way. All right. I know I'm doing British and that's Australian. Okay, go ahead.
Let's see how our subscriber count goes. If it starts dropping, you go, actually, such and such is a better, but no. Yeah, everyone's got their own taste.
I would love to, honestly, I would love it. Go ahead. You want to go and complain that you feel this way or that way about it? Go, please.
Yeah.
Comment out below, thumbs up, thumbs down. Let us know what you think. If help us with the show, that helps. If you're telling us like, hey, I like this segment, I hate this segment, then it'll help us redirect to put our attention on. I don't want to like work on to do a segment every week and you hate it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, hey, if you want me to do Band-Maid, same thing with Band-Maid, I can do it. You just gotta give me a bit of time, because I think you saw that picture I sent of all the CDs.
When did you send me that?
I guess not. That's okay. I'll send it to you sometime. Well, technically, I mean, some of them are singles that I have, but I've pretty much collected all the Band-Maid CDs that I think that exist.
When I was collecting K-pop, my original goal was to get all the CDs for the Brown Eyed Girls, and I think I did.
Ooh, I know that's going to be a big task.
Well, some of them were like, I did get them all. And some of them were like former library rentals in Japan, so they were beat to shit.
Yeah.
But the fact that like all I really needed was to have it in the CD word,
Yeah, so I went ahead and I just sent the picture to you really quick so you could take a look at.
You said about it before.
Yeah, so that's what I was telling you with my collection. So that would take a little bit of time to go through and organize what my favorite.
Can you screenshot this or share it with the audience so they can see?
I don't have it on my computer, so I can't do that yet. Maybe I'll do that for the next one.
Oh, you don't have it on your computer? Maybe I could do it because I have it on my computer. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see if I can drag this.
Now, there is a little bit of cheating in that collection, because you'll notice that there is there's some duplicates, because what I was doing was I was buying the limited edition and standard edition at the same time. And what triggered that was the fact that I mentioned when I did I think first Band-Maid's Tale, that I was in Japan for the release of Brand New Maid, and I got that the day before it came out. Well, I noticed that they had the limited edition and standard edition out at the time, and I picked up the limited edition. And I noticed as I was picking it up, the artwork was different. Tracks were the same.
Can you see what I shared?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a picture of that's Mike's CD collection.
Yeah. Artwork was different. So I went back the next day and picked up the standard edition. When I got to, as you can see, I got to a point where it stops. You got one copy of each. That's where I'm like, okay, I think I'm going overboard with buying both a limited and a standard edition. There is one CD that I'm sure like the fans will recognize is not in the collection that I can think of just off the top of my head. The reason being is I have actually gone to Japan multiple times, went around to every CD store, to ask if anyone had it, and I would show them the cover, and I wouldn't even get through asking them if they have it. They were already shaking their heads no. So the only place I saw it was like on Amazon for almost $200 for the CD. And the second the re-release of Brand New Made, the one that's just that white one that I think your mouse is on right now, happens to have two of the songs that were on that single CD, and then the New Beginning CD, the next one they put out had one of the other songs that was on it, and there's only a three track CD. So I just kind of decided on that one. I'm just going to go ahead and give up and let that CD go because I've already got the songs. So, but a lot of those were bought on trips to Japan as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So that one might take me a little bit longer to organize.
I've been, oh God, I've been running this joke into the ground lately of, so we have these heroes now, these hero astronauts who went up into space.
Mm-hmm.
So like my whole joke now is like, oh, I was in a fire truck once, so that makes me a firefighter.
That's true. That's true. I just cleaned my toilet, so does that make me a janitor? Do I get a paycheck for that?
You should. Shouldn't you?
I think I should.
You should get astronauts pay for.
Bro, I turn the lights on in my room. That makes me an electrician.
Yes. No, I think you have to be in something, and it's not to be something that usually professionals use, and then that makes you that kind of professional. I think that's the logic that these people are using.
Well,
Because they didn't do any work, Mike. They were just in it.
well, in that case, I'm in my office, and professionals use light bulbs, so that still makes me an electrician.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to be an electrician.
All right, stop sharing because you know what time it is. Oh yeah, when Ben stops sharing his screen,
I get all that.
your bank account's gonna get bigger. Thank you. It is time to save you some money.
You got to save the money.
Got to save the money. We're gonna start with Epic Games. We're doing Epic Games. Thank you, Adam Sandler. All right, so this week, what's free on Epic Games? It is not Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. It is Botanicula. I still can't even. I still didn't even read this name to pronounce it. I'm sorry. This is, they're saying adventure indie puzzle where you can be a bug running on the stick, the branch, passing by bats, and whatever the heck that thing is. I don't even know. And I don't know what you do in this game. It's free. If you want to find out, do it.
Do it now.
Do it now. Pick up Botanicula. Now, here's the thing. Next week, starting on Thursday, what's free is Churchill, which I believe is by the same people that made Botanica. I'm pretty sure it's the same company. And it looks good. I don't know what this is either. It says same thing, adventure indie puzzle. I'm thinking if you like crazy games, this is the route you need to go. And leave a comment and let me know how they are. Because I've never seen a dust mite with a laser gun, so there's something's going down here. So that's coming up. Also, time to go to, oh, by the way, and I skipped the ones that were just kind of free already, adding bonus stuff to them. So anyway, let's go to Prime Gaming. First thing free on Prime Gaming, this one is probably a big one, which is Gloomhaven, the video game of the...
That's in my state. You go to the bottom you get down on the bottom of Route 8, or not Route 8, it's on Route 95. It's got the Gloomhaven, Connecticut, where you got the best pizza. Oh, New Haven. Sorry. Go ahead.
So Gloomhaven actually was a very extremely popular board game recently.
Oh, okay.
It's now been moved to a video game. I guess it was back in 2021. Wow, it's that long ago that they moved it to video game. It's free on Epic Games. If you played the board game, you may want to pick it up. If you haven't played the board game, you may want to pick it up to find out if you want to play the board game. I'm not really I'm a board gamer, but I don't really like playing board games in video game format. but it's not a bad idea if you want to get introduced to how the board game works, seeing how this is free, and if you go pick up the board game, you're probably going to drop at least $100. So that's the first one that's free. Next one up is, okay, let's get something really, really straight here. 2 weeks ago, I told you, if you do not pick up Gravity Circuit, I will come over and beat you with your keyboard. Last week, I said, if you do not get Dread Out 2, I will take that keyboard and put it somewhere where you will not be walking well for a while. I want to make something very clear right now.
It's a very violent show.
In probably about 10 years ago, I made a list of my top 50 games of all time. Now, that was 10 years ago, so I'm sure if I did it again, the list is kind of adjusted. But of course, the closer you are to the top, the harder it is going to be to move. So if you're number 50, you'll probably get knocked off easy. If you're number 1, you're probably going to stay in that slot pretty easy. Okay, this game here, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, this was my number 10 choice of greatest games of all time, as far as up to about 10 years ago. This game, I picked this up, and I could have got it free, but I picked it up back in January. I went through it again. I loved it. I got to the place where they just discovered recently the secret place a couple of years ago or so, when the game's been out it was unknown for like 25 years. I got to experience that. I paid $7 for it, even though I had already bought it when it was out on PlayStation. I loved every second of replaying it. If you do not get this game, I will learn how to rain down thunder into your house. Just for that, just so I could do that, to show you need this game. If you like the top-down Legend of Zelda style games and you've grown up, you want this game. This game has ruined stories and movies for me. I can't think of a better story, honestly, than Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. And this is really the only one in the whole Legacy of Kain series that I will still play. So, in other words, get it. Now we'll just go ahead and move on. So next up on Prime Gaming, The Last Spell, which is like an RPG overhead, also turn-based strategy type of game. Maybe kind of like Diablo or those type of games, which if you're into, it's free, go for it. Also, Genesis Noir, which is a point-and-click adventure indie puzzle game. And I think I picked this up, but being point-and-click adventure indie puzzle, there was like 2 words in there that I really like. It wasn't my liking, but it definitely has an interesting style that's probably going to appeal to a lot of people. So it might, if you're looking at this thinking, oh, this looks kind of interesting, hey, go for it. It's free. Also for free, Fashion Police Squad, which is like the shooter game, which I was kind of curious about, but I kind of read a little bit about it, and it's I guess you have to use certain guns on certain people to raise their fashion sense or something. So I kind of thought it wasn't going to be my liking. But if you're a boomer shooter person and you're looking for something that's kind of different, you might want to go ahead and try this for free, and maybe it's your cup of tea. Also free is Berserk Boy. Remember this name, Berserk Boy, because we're going to revisit this later. Berserk Boy is labeled as, I believe, a Metroidvania on Steam. We'll see it labeled as a Metroidvania at another time. It feels more like it's kind of like a Mega Man-ish type of game. I didn't get too far into it before I realized it probably wasn't my taste, but I believe this one actually did pretty good. So it's another free game. Pick it up now and see if you enjoy it. Also is the last show of Mr. Cardish. And this is a platformer puzzle adventure game. So if you're into puzzles, if you like, this actually kind of looks kind of nice. If you like that style, go for it. We also have Wild Country, which is a whole mess of stuff. It looks like it kind of reminds me of Mario Party. It's listed as adventure card and board game indie turn-based strategy tactical, which is a lot of different styles. So I'm thinking it could be something kind of like Mario Party. But if you want, get it. Tell us if we're right. Tell us if we're wrong. I'm kind of curious now. And then I don't know if I covered this. This one's been up for, I think, a bit of time. I don't know if I covered this, but I don't remember talking about Faraway Director's Cut. So I just wanted to kind of plug this if I haven't. And if I have, just, I guess, plug it again. Adventure puzzle game. So just want to make sure I'm covering everything. So that's everything that's free. Now let's get to fanatical bundles. First one is build your own Warhammer Battles bundle. So 3 games for $4.95, but a lot of this looks like it's going to be DLC. So I think if you're talking about 3 games for $4.95, you're kind of got 3 games on here, and everything else is DLC. But just like Warhammer, I remember a guy who bought a Warhammer tank for $40, and I looked at him like, man, Warhammer's expensive. And his response was, no, it's not, because it was going to take him some time to build the tank, and then he's going to paint the tank, so we'll get hours and hours off of it for $40. So maybe the same thing. Three for $4.95 actually isn't very bad. So you could pick up the whole Warhammer collection of everything here for pretty cheap. Also on here is build your own Breakout bundle, which is 2 games for $5.99. I'm not really familiar with any of these games, but they look like they're actually, I think I've heard of the Stairway before. They look like they're indie games, but not a very bad price to pick up a couple games, and hopefully you'll find something you dig. Now going to Humble Bundle, this is where I was going to talk about Berserk Boy. Return to Metroidvania. I don't care. I accept whatever. Return to Metroidvania game bundle. Pay $14 for these 8 games. As you can see, actually, it's got Berserk Boy in it. So you can actually get Berserk Boy here if you wanted to instead. Get a Steam key. I've played a few of these. Gato Roboto is awesome. Shantae and Seven Sirens is really good. So if you see games on here for $14, not a bad deal if you're looking for some Metroidvanias to pick up. Finally, we're actually going to talk about Steam. Because starting tomorrow, as in Monday the 21st, Steam is having its box pushing fest. So there's probably going to be some discounts on some puzzle games going up. If you're a Puzzlesaurus Rex, you're probably going to want to add those to your wish list now so that you could be notified if any of them go on sale. I've actually got one that I'm hoping does go on sale tomorrow that I actually got free way back on Epic Games, but I wanted to do it so I can move it to the deck a little easier and hopefully have some cloud saves with it too. So that's going to run from the 21st to the 28th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that would be, for anybody on East Coast, 1 p.m. Pacific time that will kick off tomorrow. And that's everything for saving you money for this week. All right. Found something that sounds good.
All right. I got some stuff as well for this segment.
Oh, yes, that's right. We're not done. Go for it, Ben.
We're not done yet. So we are going to be looking at, if you have Xbox, if you have PlayStation, both companies, for some reason, are running their spring sales at the same time. In fact, they're both called spring sales. The Microsoft site seems a little bit more into really pointing out that it's a spring sale versus the PlayStation one. But if you look up here at the URLs, it's the spring sale for both of them. And they have a lot of the same stuff. Except I did go through both of them on my consoles yesterday. I didn't record me going through them because I didn't plan to really do this segment. Microsoft seems to have a closer relationship with Electronic Arts, while Sony has a closer relationship with Ubisoft. So you will find more Ubisoft stuff on sale on the PlayStation Store than you will find on the Xbox Store, and vice versa. Here's some EA stuff. No, you just made me a liar. But there is some EA stuff, just not as much EA stuff on Sony as there is on a Xbox that I noticed. I am not, by all means, I am not the expert on everything that's on sale here because I didn't go through it, like a fine-tooth comb with it. I kind of just browsed through. But you can see, here's some Ubisoft stuff. So now I'm a liar. Okay. But there's Ubisoft, there's EA, there's Capcom. Every company has representation in both of these sales. Of course, PlayStation has the PlayStation exclusives. Xbox has the Xbox exclusives. But other than that, you're going to find a lot of overlap. But you're also going to find stuff like Blinks. You're not going to find Blinks, the Time Sweeper, the Xbox original game. You're not going to find that over here on Sony. You might find a version of Blinks, but you're not going to find that. But yeah, so if you're looking to save some money and you are a console gamer and that $500 price tag of the Switch 2 has you going, I think I'll spend my money elsewhere. Well, here's an elsewhere for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
All right, so got a question for you, Ben. You were watching something prior to our talk.
Oh yes, I was watching the granddaddy of them all, the annual tradition now for 2 nights and on Easter weekend for some unknown reason. WrestleMania 41 presented by the World Wrestling Entertainment Company. I would still rather they be called the World Wrestling Federation. Tonight had their 41st annual WrestleMania event in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. And it on the card last night was the Saturday night card and tonight was the Sunday night card, and I slept through most of tonight's show because I've had a long day. And I had to sleep at some point. I didn't get home from Easter dinner until like 6:00, and the show started at 7. So I'm like, not this show. The wrestling show started at 7. So I was like, well, I'm going to just turn it on. Could they do a pre-show? I'll turn the pre-show on and I'll just sleep. And then I'll wake up at some point during the show. And I missed like the first 4 matches because I slept through them. But yeah, WrestleMania is always a good show. Even if it sucks, it's still their best show of the year. They put the most into it. This is when everybody has a special entrance. So this is supposed to be John Cena's farewell tour. He's doing his last year as a wrestler, and then he's going to stop he's never going to wrestle again. He's just going to become like an actor and stuff. And this was his last WrestleMania. So that was the big selling point this year. The build up to it, kind of when it comes like how WrestleMania has been in the past, WrestleMania 41 is kind of like one of those filler years. It feels like where there's some years like last year was WrestleMania 40, and that was like Cody Rhodes is gonna finish the story and he's gonna become the champion, and his father could never become because his father could never win the WWE title, and he was gonna win it, and he won it, and he finished the story. And this year was kind of like John Cena turned evil, and it's evil John Cena. What's he going to do?
How old is that John Cena now?
I think John Cena is about our age, which for wrestling, that's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, most wrestlers are like football players, where like they retire in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least they should. It's a very demanding business. If you're good at it, you can go and make a long career out of it. But I see some of these guys, and they're like going through tables and glass tubes and all kinds of stuff. It's ridiculous. There's a company called GCW. Just look them up and look at some of the shit that they put on for shows. And it's ridiculous. You're like, how these guys aren't going to make it past their 20s. You get this one guy in AEW, Darby Allin. Darby Allin literally Darby Allin has done so much that that I've seen on television. Never mind the stuff he's done for the independents in a room with 200 people in it, where he's like just destroyed his body. He was supposed to climb Mount Everest, but he couldn't because he was walking around in Manhattan and he got hit by a bus.
Like for the wrestling event, or you just got hit by a bus because
he got hit literally by a bus. He was walking through Manhattan and a bus hit him.
Jeez.
And this was during the weekend that he was going to go. I think he was doing something where he was going to go and try to climb Mount Everest, and he had to cancel the Mount Everest trip. And I'm like, how did he not have to throw this up because like he did something in the wrestling ring? I watched something that wasn't Darby Allin. This was another guy. This other guy, Hangman Adam Page. Let me talk about Hangman Adam Page for a second.
Okay.
I started watching AEW when AEW started. I wanted AEW to work so much. At the time, Vince McMahon has been running WWE into the ground for years. It was the same show every fucking week, so why bother watching? And it was just boring bullshit. Always going back to the well. Did I mention he always goes back to the well? So it was that over and over and over again of always the same shit. And then he had a sex scandal. They ousted him. And ever since they ousted him, WWE has become 100% better. It's such a better program now. But at the time, AEW was the alternative. And I wanted them to work because I hated what WWE was doing. And I wanted an alternative. And AEW is more letting the inmates run the asylum.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no problem. I'm still sharing my PlayStation screen. I'm going to turn this.
Yeah, you are. That's okay. People are probably looking at going like, all right, so I'm going to pick up P3. I'm going to pick up Stray.
Yeah. I'm going to pick all these games up. Okay. I canceled that. Good. So back on, all right. So yeah, back on AEW. So they had this, I'm watching this match. It's in like the first year of AEW. And they do this, a lot of guys and women in wrestling, they'll do this move where they go up on the top rope and then a group of wrestlers will wait for them outside of the ring and to catch their fall. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it's acrobats.
Yeah.
And Adam Page goes to the top rope and the camera never pans to show the people waiting for them. They follow like the person who's jumping off the rope. And he's on the top rope and he's jumping to the outside and he's going to do this move that I've seen done a couple dozen times where he jumps into a group of people and they catch his fall. Yes. He jumps and there's nobody there.
Wow.
And he goes face first into the fucking ground.
Jeez.
And that's just an example. That's just one example of how fucked up this company is. So then there's a pay-per-view. This was during lockdown. They were doing all their shows from Daly's Place. Daly's Place is an amphitheater that's connected to the same stadium that the Jacksonville Jaguars play in. Mm-hmm. And they did that there because the people who own AEW own the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in tow, have a working relationship with the stadium, including getting use of such places as their amphitheater. So they're doing the wrestling in the amphitheater and they're doing a pay-per-view. And it's Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Mm-hmm. And any wrestling fan, you can go find this footage. They're wrestling, and it's just they're doing this whole thing where because in lockdown they did a lot of these cinematic type matches, and Matt Hardy had the ability to change to his different personas that he's used over the years. And that just he changes his costume, he puts new music on, and it's a different gimmick. So he's changing all his different gimmicks. Like he goes into a freezer and he comes out of the freezer, he's in a different gimmick. And this is the type of shit they're doing at the time. So they're doing like a match where Matt Hardy got planted into the ground and he passed out and they kept the match going.
He was literally passed out.
Yeah, because he got slammed. His head hit so hard. Jeez. Or maybe it was Sammy Guevara what happened to. I forget now. That's the thing. I think it was Matt Hardy because Sammy Guevara is kind of a villain. And then he did a thing with, maybe, okay, I'm also thinking about a time where Sammy Guevara threw a chair at somebody's head. And they didn't like, and the chair did a ton of damage to the person. And I hate to use him as a scapegoat because I actually kind of like Sammy Guevara, but he seems like a kid who's in a room with other kids telling him how to be an adult. And that's what the whole company is like. Where WWE now is more structured and everything. And I'm playing WWE 2K25. I'm doing a big wrestling thing. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm playing WWE 2K25, and one of the storylines that you could do is they have a thing called My Rise, which is their story mode. And in the story mode, you could do branching stories. And they ask you, okay, you're a new guy, and you're going to be #1 draft pick in the WWE draft. What is your backstory? Are you somebody coming from the Indies? Are you somebody who already is in WWE and one of the other brands and you're being brought over? Or are you coming from a rival promotion? I don't remember all the details. One of them was rival promotion. And I picked rival promotion. They hint very strongly that you're coming from AEW. Because there's people in WWE now who are former wrestlers in AEW, and all you do is interact with these same people who used to work for AEW, and they go and say, "Hey, man, it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you since we worked at that other place." Hint, hint. The only other major wrestling promotion in the country.
The things people do for money, basically. I mean, that's to put your body through that is just insane.
Well, and that's like wrestlers some wrestlers are the most interesting people. Like you talk to them and you think, well, geez, you go through tables and stuff. You must be like the dumbest person on the planet. And you talk to them and they're like in their spare time, they read Shakespeare or whatever. Like they I don't know. I do they're really like into the shit. Like some of these wrestlers, like they're gamers.
Huh.
Like what's his name? Adam Cole. He has like a Twitch channel that makes most of his money for him. I think he makes more money off the Twitch channel than he does off the wrestling. That's one of the reasons why he left WWE, because at one point they were cracking down on people with Twitch channels because they were making more money off their Twitch channels because Vince McMahon wasn't booking them.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about this other thing. So let's wrap.
Yeah, we do.
From one thing on Peacock to another, because WrestleMania was on Peacock.
Peacock.
Well, I woke up in the morning and I went and said this song sucks. It's the fucking new theme song. That theme song sucks.
Did you want to say what it is, what we're talking about?
We are talking about the new Saved by the Bell that's exclusively on the Peacock. Sorry. This show, it's been on the entire time we've been doing the show. I've had it muted and it's been playing on my TV to remind me, because I was already on Peacock for WrestleMania, so I just switched over from one thing to another on it. And I'm on a scene right now where it's the originals and they're all at the dinner together, and Tiffany Amber Thiessen is just still unbelievably hot. And your favorite girl, she's there. She's just there. Elizabeth Berkley, because you love her.
I absolutely do love. I don't know who you're talking about right now.
Elizabeth Berkley. She played Jessie, your favorite character, and she's just there, and she's dressed like she just got out of work. And then you got Tiffany Thiessen, who looked like she just came off a runway.
Oh, yeah.
How far did you get in this show?
Okay, so I got to episode 5. All right, so there's a few things that I want to say, but I could leave it open to you if you want to start it off.
I am on. See, what episode am I on? I have it on mute though, but I'm up to episode 8 where I just let it go. But I watched when it first came out. I watched the first season, and it came out during COVID, and I'll just ruin the ending of the first season because this show sucks.
Guys.
They all die at the end. It's amazing. The end of the first season, the cast of the new cast of the new show, not the original cast of that we actually like, they're all sitting at the max, and they all find out about lockdown. So how the second season goes with lockdown, I have no idea. I didn't bother watching it. This show, I already said it. This show sucks. It's really like it's trying to. They literally took Saved by the Bell and they gave it life-altering surgery.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because that's going to come to my first point. Here's my problem with the show. I don't know who they're targeting. I don't know who they really want to be, who they're really going after. Because if they're trying to go after the fans, the original, like us, the whole setting, this whole new class, style, it doesn't connect with us. But are they going after new fans? Because if they're going after new fans, they're referencing the old stuff. And I know that parents nowadays aren't as strict as parents were, back when I was a kid or even before that. But I mean, it's pretty, I won't say it's chock full of it, but it's got I was surprised when I started hearing swearing in Saved by the Bell. That threw me off.
Yeah, it really feels like they missed the ball with this one. Are you trying to go after the people who remember growing up with the original show? Are you trying to go after the Disney audience? Are you trying to go after the trans people? Because, well, they kind of throw that down your throat in this show.
I think they're trying to go after everybody, and by going after everybody,
They're missing everybody.
they're getting nobody.
That was the thing.
That's
You can't
big
make
problem.
everybody happy. You can only make one person happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so let's talk about the positives. There are some positives of the show. The girl who is the main character,
Oh boy.
I like.
Okay, so I think there's something we got to say about all this first
So
before
when I say the girl who plays the main character, I mean a Hispanic girl, the one who talks to the camera.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
like her. I
so
like
here-
her. I think she's a good character. I think the girl's attractive. I like her.
I got I have
That is as far as I got with stuff I like. Well, that and the original
Okay.
cast.
well good
We're
because
not talking about stuff I like about this.
I got to say something right now about the show also.
Go right ahead.
I think that what they're trying to do with this is they're trying to get around this whole racism type of thing with bringing in multicultures, and I think by that it feels like they've made the show even more racist. Let me explain why. So you have like you have the um I don't know if they really specify where exactly her family is from, but she's, maybe Mexican or Cuban or whatnot. And they put her as the hard worker. Um,
She's the one, like, she starts a brand new college, like it's a college level course. She's in there, it's her first day. The school's already been going on for a while, so she obviously missed assignments. And and she's like, I want to take these assignments that I missed.
oh, you're getting ahead of me here. And actually,
It's unrealistic for any student. Nobody would want to do that.
I forgot to mention one major thing is that they're taking a school that's like all minorities, and then they're taking a school that's all white, and they're taking and trying to force it in, and that already feels like they want to segregate all these people. But going back to this character, they also make her the one that I guess she doesn't have a father. Her mother, and it's just her mother that she's living with, and she has to help take care of her son. And I'm like, this, you're so stereotyping this. And then they've got the the black female who they decided, okay, we're gonna make her the sports person because we kind of want to shove that theme down your throat. Whereas we're gonna take all the guys and we're gonna make them basically little girls who football players and make them all weak and make the woman the strong one. And it feels like they want to shove, they definitely want to shove that down your throat. Then yes, there's the trans aspect of it that also feels like it's being forced in there too. They've got the black male who they decide we're going to make this person, he doesn't want to be a football player because he can be whatever he wants. And they want to shove that theme down your throat. In the meantime, then you've got the Zach Morris's son, who's the white male that doesn't have to do anything because he has money. It's like they want to stereotype this so bad that it feels like Song of the South was no near as bad as this.
Oh man. Okay, so They literally took the Zach Morris character and they split him into two. They took his looks and that's Mac Morris, and that's what some of the scheming. Actually, they kind of made it into three. Because it's Mac Morris, it's the Hispanic girl whose name I can never remember, but she's really cute. And
It is Daisy.
is it Daisy, the one who could freeze time? Is that her name?
I don't know. Maybe Daisy, because there's also
So she gets the Zach Morris superpowers. Mac Morris gets the scheming. And then the fact that he has, and then you have like you have Zach Morris on crack with Lex, this dude who comes in dresses, and that like I knew that there was a trans character in the show when I started watching it. That was not a surprise to me.
Yeah,
and it's just it was the constant reminder that it's a trans character, or I'm like, I bet you if you never mentioned it, a portion of the audience wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And then you would have, oh my God, you would have gotten your goal, which is for people not to notice it. Isn't that your goal? Isn't that what's always mentioned? It's like, hey, I'm a blah, blah, blah. Don't say anything about it, though. Don't you mention I'm a blah, blah, blah. And then it's what's the tattoo on your face syndrome? I got a tattoo on my face. No, I don't. Why are you talking about that?
Well, I think that the problem here is the same thing's happening with Disney. I wouldn't mind if they put this stuff in, but it's the fact that they want to put it in and kind of politicize it.
Yeah.
And that's where you're not going to connect with the older generation by politicizing it, because we don't really, we get this crammed down our throats all the time. But you're not gonna, the way that they're bringing in the old cast and treating it like the old show, you're gonna have trouble connecting with the younger generation at that point. Now, I will say this though, I am gonna give it a couple positives, because I watched the first 3 episodes and I absolutely despised it. But the 4th episode,
I was like, actually, Mike.
I don't know if it was I just decided to lower my standards or not, but I then took a break, went back on the 4th and the 5th episode, and maybe it wasn't as bad as the first 3 episodes. Maybe it's the fact that at that point I knew what to kind of expect with it, but I could handle those. I did like the fact that they brought in the caffeine pills. I think it was on the 5th episode. They brought in the reference to the caffeine pills, and with Jesse and everything. I thought that was kind of a nice touch, but then I thought, it also felt like that Hail Mary to connect with the older generation.
And that's kind of like the real mess that they have on their hands, is they're trying, once again, we mentioned this before, they're trying to make everybody happy, and in the process they're making nobody happy, because who's this show for? It's not for me, obviously, or is it for me? Because I do like seeing, like right now I'm watching a scene where they took the principal and they're retroactively throwing him into classic scenes from the show. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. They're reusing old scenes. I get to see, a young Kelly Kapowski. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then it's like you get these scenes where they show the kids. When they show the kids, none of those scenes are for me. They're not for you. It's like, I don't know.
I wonder if they want to make it so that it's kind of uncomfortable in the way to make when you're political. I can't even say that word, politicizing something. So that the viewer is not only, so they're like, oh, okay, this is how it is for these people. And we're at a point where I don't think, we've been spoon-fed that so much that we're getting just like that you don't want to deal with it.
Politicization of shows is like awful. It's like you can't, you're not allowed to just enjoy stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Everything has to be like jammed down your throat, and it's like, if you don't believe this certain thing, then you're a blah 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 and all this other stuff. And it's like, can I just watch my stupid TV show, and can it just be stupid? Does it have to have like some political message to it? Does it have to be this, that, and the other thing? And it doesn't. Not not everything needs to have not everything's supposed to like change your mind on stuff,
Well, the first Saved by the Bell, the first Saved by the Bell did do stereotypes as well. You had, Screech, who was the nerd, and you had Slater, who was the jock.
Yeah, but
But
these are slight stereotypes. Like, yeah, he's the jock, but they didn't like, okay, he's the jock and he's black and he's
Exactly.
in an inner city school and it's a female who's going on the football team because women can do anything men can do, and men can do anything women can do, including be a woman.
Exactly. That was my point I was getting to.
Yeah, it's this whole thing of like, because then you can't claim one sex is better than the other because you're always claiming that everybody's equal. Well, if everybody's equal, then okay. Oh, but they're not. You can't say this about a certain person because of this. And it's like, well, then not everybody's equal. They are not. It's like in the show, it does more damage to the thing they're trying to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. It's like, yes, like, believe this. This is the way it is. 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 Like, no, it's never been like this before. Why is it the way it is now? Just shut up and stop asking questions. Only racists do that. Asking questions is bad. Anytime you're told asking questions is bad, and then somebody's like, well, you work for a church, and churches tell me all the time not to ask questions. Well, then you're going to the wrong church, buddy. That might do that.
And you could see that they're really catering towards the older generation. Like, I know we already talked about the opening song, but how they had to regurgitate it, but yet they had to do it for the newer generation by changing the style of it. And I noticed they cut out taking out the getting to the bus on time part because, kids don't ride the bus like they used to. But I do want to say, I still have no idea. When you wake up in the morning and the log gets out of warning, I don't know what they're saying, even on the new version.
The alarm gives out a warning.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the log gets out of warning.
Gives out a warning at the end. I barely made this, or I almost didn't make the school bus on. I forget the rest of it now. They get me confused.
People, we need to remake Saved by the Bell one more time, and the lyrics need to be, when I wake up in the morning and the log gets out of warning.
You can't just come up with new shit.
Yeah.
Please. If you want to do a new Saved by the Bell, come up with the idea in your head, but then change it so it's not Saved by the Bell. Call it something else. Say it Late for Class, or I don't know, High School. I don't know. Come up with a different name. That's the point. And make it, if you want to have the same style, then cool. Have a show in the same style, and you can say it's the spiritual successor to Saved by the Bell. That's a word that's used a lot in video games. Why not use it in TV? Say it's the spiritual successor. It's not the same show, but it's got the. We're trying for the same feel, but they don't even do that right. The feel is completely different. This is shot with multiple cameras. It's not in front of a live studio audience. It's shot on set. It's shot on location, not with a sound stage, which. The original show was done on a sound stage in front of a live studio audience, which sometimes the studio audience misbehaved. There's certain episodes where you could hear them screaming, "I love you, Kenny," and shit like that, But that was part of the charm of the show. Sometimes you didn't know what the audience was going to do. You got some guy who's screaming, "Woo!" or "Wow."
Some guy runs up naked on the stage.
That happened. But when they would kiss and you get the, that's all gone.
Yeah.
All gone. It's literally just done. This could have been a drama instead of a comedy. In fact, it's almost a drama instead of a comedy because it's pretty dramatic how horrible it is. Again, I'm watching it right now, and the best thing on my television is this woman who was the best thing on the show when it was on 30 years ago.
Here's something that I would like to know. I don't know if there's anyone within the age group that would actually be able to answer this that listens to us. But the way that they have Lexi and Jamie, is it the Jesse's kid Jamie, the wimpy football quarterback guy? The way that Lexi is just just going after Jamie, and Jamie.
And here's the messed up thing is that before the transition, Lexi was like best friends with them and they were neighbors, and they have these scenes where they're like, hey, remember when we were kids and we used to do this game? You probably haven't gotten to that scene because that's literally just one of the ones where over here now, or like they're doing the tin cans with the piece of rope, and they used to one was at one window and one's at the window at the other house, and they would talk to each other, and they're trying to recreate that, but it's like I don't think okay, so let's say in the world your best friend growing up all of a sudden decides that they're going to be the opposite sex and goes this whole transition thing, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that really fuck with your head about that person? Like, you're not the person I thought you were and all that. They don't tackle that really at all with this show. They they kind of like breeze past it. It's like, well, he transitioned to her and I'm okay with it. And that's the end of that story. It's like, no.
Well, I was thinking of it, and that's a good question, but I was thinking of it more of like, is it like, do they now see it like natural that, okay, so it was a he, but now that person goes by she, and now they want to date me, and since they consider she, I have no problem with it? Or are there still people that are like, I'm not interested because I know that, you were a man at one point, and I know basically what you have, and that's not something I'm looking for? Because I'm wondering if the show is, because the way it treats it, it's like the whole thing with Jamie. He's an idiot, but I don't think he's that big of an idiot. But he doesn't have that. I know that you were a man before. I'm curious that like nowadays, if that's what's going on in schools, or because I would imagine maybe that the kids get backlash for standing out and saying, that's not something that I'm looking for. So I don't know.
They do get backlash for it. It's
Yeah.
like you get they'll go and say like, oh, you're not gonna go, but if you that means that you must be gay because like it's a girl. It's like, number one, like even if it was a girl, you're not attracted to every woman you come across.
Hmm.
Just like that's always attracted to every guy they come across. So that's number one. Number two, it's not a woman. So this throws out the whole argument to begin with. Even the UK, United Kingdom, where it's illegal to pray, even their Supreme Court voted that a woman is a woman and a man is a man.
Yeah.
It's like it's when you got a liberal place across the pond doing it, it's like, it's, and that's where we're heading in this direction. People are finally waking up to this, and this used to be a mental illness. There was a show called MASH where there was a character whose entire story arc was pretending that he was a transsexual so he can get out of the Korean War.
Well, it was all back then. It was this kind of thing was used as comedy.
Yeah. And now, if you were to remake MASH, you would be canceled for even probably having the idea of including a character like that. Like there should be the guy running the army.
There's also a show, was it maybe Bosom Buddies, I think it was, where they would dress up as girls constantly.
And the thing is that kind of humor I never found entertaining anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why would I find it entertaining now, or where I'm supposed to take it seriously? I'm like, if it's not entertaining 30, 40 years ago when it was like supposed to be laughed at, now I don't give a shit. I don't care, I don't want to. And then have it in this TV show. Dude, if they had the Lexi character and they mentioned it one time and it was in passing and they never mentioned it again,
yeah,
it would be way more acceptable than constantly down your throat, down your throat, down your throat, down your throat. Because I'm like, you know what? It's a character. I don't really care what happens to this character. I'll pick a favorite character and I'll just, I'll cheer for them through the show. And that's usually how I do with shows anyways.
And I think they kind of nailed it on the head one time, because they had her wearing a thing that said extra. I don't know if you caught that. I think it was on episode 4 or 5. It said extra. I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like what you are at this point.
Yeah.
By the way that they're cramming it down your throat.
And it's the way the TV is nowadays. It's like TV was so much better back when everybody was just trying to entertain you, and now they're trying to educate you, which is not everything's supposed to be a political show. Not everything's supposed to be, like Saved by the Bell is supposed to be a stupid comedy about a bunch of teenagers who have a high school that is a little bit more than you would actually get out of high school. If you went to high school expecting it to be like Bayside, you're going to be disappointed. But it gives you a kind of a general idea of what the place is like.
And I guess in the end, the best way to say this is that I can't connect with any of the characters. I can't connect with the story. I can't connect with the setting. I can't connect with the humor. I can't connect with anything that's going on with the show. And when you can't, when the watcher can't connect with the show, it's not the watcher that's failing. It's the show that's failing. And that's what the show does well.
But that's assuming that this is aimed towards us, which I have a feeling that it's not. But then again, yeah, it's not aimed towards us then, because I don't know. They brought back shows before where they do a good job.
Mhm.
And they do aim it towards a specific audience, and sometimes only that audience is one into it. Like, let's use Veronica Mars, for instance. Veronica Mars was a TV show that aired on UPN it aired for like 3 years on UPN. I forget what years it was on. But then they took the show off the air, and then they did a crowdfunding thing to put the movie to make a movie of the show, continuing the story. And the movie came out. The movie was good, and then they did a new season for Hulu. And I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I have it on Blu-ray. I'm one of the few. Because when they brought back the show as a movie and they brought it back as a show, they aimed it directly at people who like the show.
Mhm.
When they brought back Saved by the Bell, I was expecting it to be the same thing, where they weren't aiming at maybe aiming towards people who like Saved by the Bell. No. They're aiming it towards everybody.
Yeah.
It's that spread fire shot on Contra. That's what they're doing. And they're necessary to the process is the problem.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm watching it. Like I said, I have it on right now. The Hispanic girl who's the lead, she's attractive, but she's on enough to keep me on this program.
Yeah.
If I'm saying it, no, you have a pretty girl on the show. If that's the nicest thing I got to say to you, that's a problem.
I think the best thing for us to do at this point is to start a GoFundMe page and call it let people know that we're going to bring a new show to rival Saved by the Bell, and we're going to call it Welcome Back, Miss Bliss.
Welcome back, Miss Bliss. She's still alive.
Hey, she's welcome to be in the show.
She outlived Screech.
Yeah.
That's why they can't do a reunion now, because it's like they try to, and they've done reunions without him, but it's like it doesn't. He's more of a key character than some of the other ones are, because he's been there since day one, and like and so has Lark, but Screech has been in more episodes. He's been in more stories, The original show is just so hard to beat, and why they tried bringing it back. Like, I understand you want to revisit old properties and stuff. You'd almost be better making a cartoon and just keeping it the original way. That's what they should have done. They should have done an animated show, hire the original cast to come in and voice their characters again, and just have it as a continuation, or have it. There's the first episode. They find a time machine and they end up in 2025, but everybody who happens to be in the original show happened to be in the time machine. Maybe it was something that affected the whole high school. I don't know. There, I'm writing your show for you, NBC. Here's what you do. Screech is working on a time machine, and the time machine, it malfunctions, and the whole high school gets sent to 2025. And it's an animated show. Mr. Belding's there. The kids are there, and they're still teenagers. Zach is still trying to scheme, but at the same time, they're all trying to figure out that it's now 30 years later, and they don't know what the fuck's going on. There's your show. There is your show.
That's a good idea, and I want to take that a step further. They should take this version of Saved by the Bell and make that the 2025 that they actually go to. Mac Morris, so that when they get there, they're like, "What the crap are we? I think we went too far. We got to go back."
Christopher Lloyd shows up and is like, Zach, Kelly, you have to come with me. It's your children. He's an idiot.
It is true. It's sadly true. That line would work in the show.
Oh man, he is a dumb character. Mac Morris is a moron.
Yeah.
He is a total moron. The one episode I did find funny is when he was fighting him and the other guy. They met the same girl and they thought it was two separate girls.
Oh yeah.
And our main character Daisy here, she's like trying to tell them that it's the same girl, and the whole time, Lexi's like, "No, don't tell them." And it's like, why not? Why do you like watching your friends being stupid and they're not your friends?
See,
You know?
and actually on that episode, there's something that's really creepy in the fact that they have all those people that are older men and stuff. And
Oh yeah, playing the seniors. That was funny too, I thought. Though.
I didn't find that funny. Especially with what's going on nowadays with all these like child what's the word I'm looking for? Child trafficking rings. They're actually being uprooted. It's like watching this is just it's the same thing as watching the scene in Airplane where he asks, have you ever seen a grown man naked? It's uncomfortable right now, like really uncomfortable.
At the time, I got the joke. The joke was that every time you watch one of these high school movies or TV shows, they always hire like 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
So that was the joke. And as a joke, it's funny. I thought it was a little overplayed. But because like, what are they gonna do? What if the show was successful? I mean, they made 2 seasons, so they made it for what, from freshman to sophomore. What if they made it to their senior year? Are they gonna recast the whole show with 40-year-olds?
The new class.
The new class. That wasn't me stuttering. I just got that in news.
The episode skipped everybody, just so you know.
Yeah. I it's just another swing and a miss of taking an old property and trying to make it new. We've talked about this show before too. When it was first on in one of our older episodes, I talk about my probably more raw thoughts on it. I just turned it off. I can't watch this anymore. I'm gonna put Bash at the Beach on. Yeah, don't bother. If you got Peacock for some other reason, you don't need to use it to watch Saved by the Bell, the new show. It's not good.
However, if you do have a choice, if you only have 2 channels and this is playing and you switch over to the other channel and the other channel is playing Cruel Intentions, then I'd recommend Saved by the Bell at that point.
I don't know. I think Cruel Intentions is better written.
I think I'd rather have a power failure than either of those, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, you got to choose between watching Sarah Michelle Gellar or the possibility of seeing Tiffany Thiessen doing a cameo. One of the two, and it's not good. It's not.
Either way, you feel like you lost.
Yeah, go read a book. If those are your 2 TV options, go read a book.
Go get some free games on Prime.
Yes, Prime, dude, a Prime membership. If you run that game, man, you can make that Prime membership pay for itself. Like, so yeah.
Yeah,
They don't get unlimited photo backups on Prime. Not everyone knows that.
So I'm sure you remember the Private. He was on one of the episodes with us. His Prime, he was getting Prime through his daughter. His daughter had a student account. Now his daughter's, I guess, no longer has this account, so he no longer has Prime. I'm like, you might as well just go get Prime because with all the free games, you're going to overall save money because he and I and some others sometimes we'll get together and we'll play online. So it's like, well, we've got this game now on Prime. Oh, you want to join us? We'll go out and buy the game. It's probably going to cost you $30, So it's actually worth it.
It's one of the things, like, I mean, they also have the streaming video, which is neat. It's sometimes there's some good stuff on there, but usually it's their streaming service has a bit of a reputation. I don't know if they've recovered from this rap, because maybe the Lord of the Rings helped. I don't know, but it's one of those things where if you have a show to pitch, you pitch it to all this other streaming companies and you settle on putting it on Amazon Prime. You rather have it on Netflix, obviously, or one of the other ones. And I don't know why. But I do hear to Amazon though, if you do have a production company, they're very hands off.
Mhm.
They're not going to be like, "Hey, you guys should do this and you should do that, and we have this other show. Can you tie them together?" They don't do any of that shit. They just do your show. Here's your money, and deliver it on time. That's all we want. And I watched Jury Duty. Jury Duty was good. That's on Amazon Prime.
Pauly Shore movie?
What's that?
The Pauly Shore movie?
No, Jury Duty, the one I talked about.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think this
The TV show where the one guy is in there and the rest of them are actors. I don't know the Paul's movies. I don't know where that is. I had no interest in watching that. Pauly Shore did one good movie that's called Biodome. I grew up listening to that guy. He has a whole thing about girls named Lisa.
Yep. The Lisa.
So whenever I meet somebody named Lisa, I'm like, should I tell them about that Pauly? No, don't tell them about the Pauly Shore.
Well, yeah, he had the song, the Lisa song.
Yeah, because it's not flattering to people named Lisa.
Yeah.
It's very unflattering. Yeah, but if you want to know about it, look at Pauly Shore Lisa here on the UB2B, and I'm sure it's somewhere there.
Yeah, so I think anything else to add? Because I think we pretty much beat that one into the ground.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. Maybe one day we could do it as a topic of like reboots that worked.
This one?
No, it's not a reboot that worked. I'm talking about this one wouldn't be mentioned in that. I'm talking about like we could do a topic one day of like reboots that worked. Because this is a reboot. This is a reboot that didn't work. We could do that too. We could do reboots that didn't work. But
so basically, we're at an hour and 40 minutes right now. If you want to do a topic of the reboots that worked, we're gonna have like a 5-minute episode, and that's basically it.
Oh, okay. You don't have any. Okay,
But,
yeah, it's really hard to do a reboot.
Yeah.
Like Battlestar Galactica, the original versus the remake. The remake is better, like 1,000 times better. The only good thing I can say about the original is you could tell the cast was having fun, which added to it. It did help. I've talked about that before. You can see like in Funny Face, the cast of that is having a ball, and you can see it. And it helps it helps me have fun watching it. But like the newer Battlestar Galactica had a whole like mythos to it. There's a religion. There's there's two competing religions. One of them is very, very close to Greek mythology, and the other one is very, very close to Christianity, including a guy who is resurrected. There's a lot of Christian themes weaved in Battlestar Galactica, which I don't think is a bad thing because their whole universe is set up where they don't know about us. Well, there is no us. It's actually said so far in I'll be ruining the show, but it's said so far in the past at the very last episode, they establish the first tribe in Africa as they land on Earth. I'm sorry if you haven't seen the 2003 version of Battlestar Galactica, a now 20-year-old show. I just ruined the ending. I'm sorry. And Starbuck dies. Sorry.
Dude, you are really ruining the ending at this point. And I do want to point out, Soylent Green is people.
Soylent Green is people.
All right, so on that, I think we're pretty much done. So Ben, do you want the last word?
And for Mike, I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.